Welcome back to The Real Story. As new information comes to light every single day under this administration, it seems there is more and more pushback. Now, many people have noticed this, from media persons to members of the cabinet and even members of the public. People are clearly catching on to this seeming resistance from the bureaucracy, from the swamp, from permanent Washington. Even Anna Paulina Luna posted this on her X page in response to a post about former CIA employees potentially taking secrets to foreign intelligence agencies. She said, quote, "There is a massive war happening in the intelligence agencies right now. The corruption being exposed right now is actual treason," end quote. And Michael Schellenberger, independent journalist, replied to that post by saying, quote, "FBI whistleblower Garrett O'Boyle confirmed to me that a source inside the FBI said FBI employees were destroying evidence on servers and that he informed Kash Patel. I hope he and AG Pam Bondi, John Ratcliffe, Elon Musk, and Anna Paulina Luna are preventing this. We urgently need disclosure," end quote. Meanwhile, the FBI has launched an investigation into former FBI Director James Comey for a supposed honeypot operation targeting President Trump back in 2016. A whistleblower suggested that Comey ordered the investigation and even personally directed it, despite not having a specific crime to investigate. And some believe the investigation was a phishing operation to try to find a crime on Trump. And of Trump, of course, he's used to this, and he's personally tired of the pushback and targeting that he has received over the years. He actually spoke about this during the signing of an executive order on Tuesday.
Mr. President, what do you say to people who worry that targeting an individual firm or individuals who aren't Jack Smith for his actions?
I've been targeted for 4 years, longer than that. So you don't tell me about targeting. I was the target of corrupt politicians for 4 years, and then 4 years after that. So don't talk to me about targeting.
But Trump isn't the only one being targeted. Following the pushback from the bureaucracy, anti-ICE activists in Southern California have created a stir by doxing ICE agents. Posters such as this one were put up around LA neighborhoods with agents' faces, names, and phone numbers on them, with writing that said, quote, "Careful with these faces." These posters also said that they kidnap people from their homes and terrorize communities. Joining us now to discuss is military defense attorney Davis Younts. Davis, thank you for joining me.
Always an honor, Riley. Thank you.
So I want to ask you about the pushback to any kind of transparency into what the FBI has been doing. Why are Democrats and so many people in permanent Washington so radically opposed to any kind of truth-telling?
I mean, you just have to look at the history of the FBI as a whole. This is not new that we see the FBI being used by corrupt political leaders as a way to target their political enemies. I mean, you could look at the history of the FBI under J. Edgar Hoover. So there are good FBI agents within the agency, but as a whole, it has become something that's, first of all, duplicative of what is being done by state and local law enforcement, but it has been used to target the enemies of the state. And there are just far too many people in D.C. that are part of the entrenched bureaucracy, these tyrannical federal agencies that are willing to play along with these political games. And it wasn't just during the Trump administration. Obama started this practice of using the FBI and those resources to target political enemies. And so now we're in a situation where what President Trump is doing and bringing in an outsider like Kash Patel, bringing an outsider like Dan Bongino in, all they're trying to do is say this has to stop, and we need to take a hard look at what the role of the FBI should be in our nation in the first place. And I can tell you, as a former federal prosecutor and as a defense attorney, most of the investigations that the FBI does are not real investigations. They simply take over once the state and local have done the job. They've actually done the hard work. The FBI just takes it over, and then they do the high-level prosecutions, seize all the drug assets, and move on. But that's just, there's so much to talk about as far as how we look at the FBI and what they're doing. But I'm not surprised at all by this pushback, because there is absolutely corruption, and there has been a lot of use of the FBI to further just Marxist agenda with in our own government.
Yes, they went from law enforcement and really protecting law and order to interfering in politics, and almost always for the benefit of just one side, the Democrats. And really, this whole resistance, it reminds me of that classic clip from Chuck Schumer, of all people, talking about what happens to those that try to go after intelligence agencies. I want to play that clip and then get your take.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
What do you think about that, Davis?
I mean, that should be chilling to any American citizen.
Yes.
I mean, that is what you would hear in Nazi Germany. That's what you would expect out of the former Soviet Union. Yes. The idea that even the president of the United States should be afraid of the entrenched bureaucracy of the FBI and the CIA, that should be so chilling. That should tell us everything we need to know about bringing in outsiders and fundamentally reforming all of these agencies, and if necessary, making these drastic cuts, because that should never happen in our nation. No American citizen should be comfortable with any kind of a threat like that, and no one, certainly not a sitting senator like Chuck Schumer,
yes,
should be comfortable with that. What is he doing? Why is he even there? What about his oath to the Constitution if he truly believes our own intelligence agencies would be a threat to a presidential candidate or to the president of the United States?
Well, I mean, Davis, just to your point there, why is it, do you think, that someone like Chuck Schumer, who's supposed to be representing the people, feels so comfortable to go on national television and say something like that?
Because he knows the truth. He knows the power of this entrenched bureaucracy, and he understands how powerful this bureaucracy has become. Our constitutional system is in danger when Congress doesn't do their job. They cede all of this authority to this fourth branch of government, this administrative bureaucracy, and then everyone panics when a president like Trump comes in and says, hey, wait a minute, this is supposed to fall under the executive branch. This is supposed to be under executive authority. And when we tear it down and want to reform it so it works for the American people, you panic. I mean, that's why he feels comfortable doing it. He feels protected by this entrenched bureaucracy in D.C. because he's been part of the swamp for so long.
Well, it's still disgusting nonetheless, but you make a good point. But also, just sort of final 30 seconds for you, I have to get your take about an investigation into James Comey for a honeypot operation in 2016. What do you think about that?
Sadly, I'm not shocked by it, but I mean, this is worse than what the Chinese government tries to do to their political enemies. I mean, we have turned into Marxist communists in the way we carry these things out. Imagine this. The FBI director trying to trap a presidential candidate into this and infiltrating their campaign. If this comes out to be true and this is verified, I mean, that should be a very, very serious crime. He should be indicted, and there should be no mercy if that's what occurred.
Absolutely. It is a betrayal to the Constitution, the American Republic, and the American people. And by the way, if they can weaponize the FBI against Trump or anybody else, they can do it to anybody else. So I think it's really, yeah, exactly. So we'll have to see what comes of that. But like you said, if it's verifiable and it's true, I want real accountability, or else it's just going to keep happening over and over again. But having said that, Davis, thank you for stopping by.
It's left to men like Davis Younts to fight for these Navy SEALs.
Davis Younts, you are an attorney who has successfully defended naval officer.
Davis Younts has been instrumental in defending service members.
Davis Younts successfully defended an evangelical Navy lieutenant.